All right, so proteins, ladies and gentlemen. Elements that make up proteins, like before, we still have our carbon, we still have hydrogen, and we still have oxygen. Additionally, in proteins, we have nitrogen. Okay, so where does that nitrogen show up? And remember how we were saying like cho and cho before, so now we're going to say chan. And we'll talk about what that means in a moment. All right, so in a protein, again, I'm sorry, we are going to have carbons, hydrogens, oxygens, and nitrogens. Now, there are some other elements that exist, but these are the main elements that every single protein has. Every protein on the planet has carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. And then they have some other ones depending on what individual protein it is. So what are the functions of proteins? Well, proteins are kind of like, they do everything, right? I mean, because like the carbohydrates, they normally are just used for energy, and some structures, we talked about lipids, they store energy, and then we use them for chemical messaging, right? And then we, of course, have the waterproof cell membranes, right? So much is going on with these proteins. All right, so what do proteins actually do? Well, they regulate cell processes. They form cell structures. They transport substances. I can't spell the word structure. All right. They act as enzymes, and enzymes help speed up chemical reactions. They are also chemical messengers. And they also support the immune system. So as you can see, there's a lot of really important functions that go on with proteins. All right. So what is the monomer of a protein? Okay, what is the building block of proteins? Because monomers are the building blocks. The monomer of a protein is an amino acid. And there are 20 unique amino acids in the universe, at least that we know of. So knowing now that this is an amino acid, I want to kind of scroll back up here just for a moment. This structure right here that we're looking at under proteins is a basic protein function, all right? So this protein, this amino acid, building block protein, has 3 distinct areas. We have the nitrogen side of the molecule. The nitrogen side of the molecule is called the amino group, okay? So the nitrogen side over here, we call the N and the 2 H's, we call this the amino group. Over here, I have a carbon connected to 2 hydrogens, and then there's 2 oxygens, and there's a hydrogen over here. This side of the protein molecule is called the carboxyl group. And then down here, we have this R. And then R is kind of like a placeholder. We call it the side group. Now, remember how I said that there are 20 different amino acids? What makes the amino acids different from each other are these side groups. But every single amino acid has the amino group, the carboxyl group, and then an R, which is the side group. And there are different side groups depending on which amino acid it is. And again, there are 20 different amino acids that can make different proteins. When my amino acids all chain together, remember when monomers make polymers. So when my amino acids get together in a chain, they are called a polypeptide. And the reason for this is because the bond between the bond between each individual amino acid is called a peptide bond. So the polymers are named after the bonds that hold the amino acids together. Some biological proteins, ladies and gentlemen. And again, you guys are all pretty much familiar. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're probably familiar with all of these. Keratin. Let's see, enzymes, muscle, insulin, and antibodies. These are all proteins. So again, if we're thinking about where do these proteins come from, for us as humans, they come from food. So if we need protein, we eat meats. If we are a vegetarian, that may lead us to eggs or beans or tofu. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that kind of covers our proteins. Again, every protein is made of amino acids, and every single amino acid has this structure. Again, the amino group, which is the nitrogen side, the carboxyl group, which is the carbon side, and this R, which is considered the side group. And that side group, of course, differs depending on which of my 20 amino acids I am talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I am actually going to stop recording, but that's okay.